What's going on, guys? Today is Saturday, February 4th, 2017. Gotta get used to saying the 2017. And today's weekend project is going to be about my oxygen acetylene tanks. In the past, I've had a commercial setup of an oxygen acetylene tank, which are the really large tanks that probably, I don't know, how high are they? 3-4 foot high, something like that, depending on the tank. But anyway, I was paying a rental fee on those every year, and I got sick of paying the rental fee because, let's face it, I don't use them often, but when I need them, I really do need them. So I called up the company, American Compressed Gases in Bardonia, New York, which, great company. They were very friendly, and they're like, yeah, we do have another option. You can purchase these smaller tanks, and I'm very pleased with my purchase. And yeah, so the only thing I had to do now is build a holding cart. I don't think I'm going to do a wheeled setup. I think I'm going to do something with a handle so I could just pick it up and go, and hopefully something I could wind up my cutting torch cord on there and maybe have a, like a custom holder for my cutting torch. So that's what's going on today. A little background about Oxy-Acetylene. What it is you have two tanks basically. You have an oxygen tank, clearly, and an acetylene tank. And what you do is you can adjust the mixture of those two gases coming out of the tip of a torch, and there's different style tips. I'm not really the best to explain it, but you can do a lot of things with it. You can do everything from welding to cutting to heating up bolts and things along those lines. So it's something incredibly handy to have if you're into any type of fabrication or welding, or even if you work on cars or stuff like that, because every now and then you're going to have a seized up bolt that you can't get out, and this is a great tool to have. So yeah, let's get started. Alright, so let's talk about my design a little bit, or what exactly I plan to do. What I plan to do is I plan to have two rectangular compartments that hold the tanks. Now, if you notice in here, I have an inner measurement and an outer measurement. And the reason I have that is obviously the pipe, takes up an inch. So I had to calculate that, and that adds like an inch to the exterior dimensions. So what I did, I just measured the diameter of my tanks, and from there I basically laid out a rectangular box, like I said, and I already started to cut some of the pieces, and I really like how everything's coming so far. So basically, there's going to be a rectangular box like that. I'm going to put a plate likely on the bottom. Not 100% sure yet, but I think I'm going to put a piece of plate on the bottom, and I'm going to put another piece of 1-inch square tube. Yeah, I think that's right. 1-inch square tube. Sounds good to me. So I'm going to put another piece in the center as a divider, and then I'm going to make a second exact copy of this part, and that's going to be suspended higher, except I'm not going to have the plate. So I have my bottom holding plate that's going to prevent the bottom from moving, and then I'm going to have the upper square or rectangular part, and that's going to prevent the tanks from tipping over, ideally. So yeah, I already started to cut out some of my parts. Hope you guys don't mind that I talk too much here, but cutting these is kind of time consuming. I don't have a bandsaw. I would really like to get one in the future, but the way I cut these is simply with an angle and a 4.5-inch angle grinder. It's very slow, but I've used that angle grinder so much that my cuts are actually incredibly accurate. I'll actually show you two pieces and how close they are to each other. So, hang on, here we go. That's one end, that's the other end. So everything is actually cut very accurately, even though some people say you can't do that. But anyway, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to continue cutting out pieces, which I'm going to have to make the second rectangular box, and then I'm going to have to make some risers to suspend that part of the box, and I got to figure out how I'm going to do the handles. So enough talking, let's get to work. What's going on, guys? So it's been about a week since I've worked on this Oxy-Acetylene holding system. I'm not going to call it a cart because it doesn't have wheels. But yeah, I actually got some time today to finish it up. Unfortunately, I did not record any more of the building process because honestly, it's just incredibly tedious and I wasn't feeling like doing all the extra video work today. I like to listen to music. I can't play music while I do these videos because YouTube will have a copyright issue, and just when I listen to music and I get in that mode and I just like to go 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 go, and it just comes together so much more efficiently. But yeah, so anyway, everything came out really nice and I'd be happy to show you what I came up with. Alright, just to recap again, this is what I used to deal with. It's a commercial size welding cart, or excuse me, a commercial size Oxy-Acetylene holding cart. I had 2 commercial size tanks in there, and for a 2-car garage, this was taking up a ton of space, and not to mention the rental fee. So this is what my system turned out like. So I traded in the larger tanks for these 2 homeowner, I guess you could call them homeowner tanks, or whatever. I mean, they're I don't know. I doubt most homeowners are going to have these, but I think you understand what I'm saying here. I own these tanks now, so I don't have to pay any rental fees on them. And basically what I came up with is it's just a holding system. I made it out of 1-inch square tube steel. All my welds were through flux corded wire because I didn't want to use any argon on this. All the welds came out nice and clean, no issues there. Ground down the welds on the top so when I go to grab this, nothing's going to cut me and everything's nice and smooth. Finish wise, I just added some Rust-Oleum clear coat on there so it gives it kind of like that nice welded look. And that's really going to reduce the chances of any rusting from occurring in the future. On the bottom, just a piece of extra plate I had laying around. So that way when I lift this, the tanks aren't going to fall out of there. I did the handle height just enough so that I can grab it from standing straight up, but when I lean my weight to the right, I just pick it up off the ground. It is pretty heavy. I'd say this whole system's probably around 100 pounds. It'd be a good idea to put some type of wheels on it, but honestly, it's going to be pretty rare that I'm going to be taking it out of its spot, and its new home is going to be right in this corner, or this edge of the toolbox here, in between the drill press and the toolbox. Yeah, I also through this piece of rod and I put a small horseshoe on the top there to hold my hoses so they're up off the ground, out of the way. You want to be careful with new horseshoes because they do have rather jagged edges, so I ensured that I ground them down nice and smooth so I wouldn't damage any of my hoses. What else can I say? I added a striker here. One other thing that I do want to mention, if you're going to do something like I did where you went from the commercial tanks that you're renting to these tanks that you can purchase and own yourself, on this acetylene tank you will need to purchase an adapter, which I may or may not have mentioned that. Just wanted to throw that out there again. And so going from that monstrous cart to this compact system, I'm very happy with how it came out. One other thing I was thinking about, because I have this right next to my drill press, I was figuring that some shavings from the drill press may come off and kind of land in that regulator, so I had an extra piece of toolbox matting laying around. Cut a little hole in there. That's going to go right in the top of the horseshoe there. So now, this way, if I get anything coming off the drill press, it'll bounce off there and just go on the ground there. So, thanks for watching. If you guys like this project, I'd appreciate a thumbs up and subscribe for more.